Hello, 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 and welcome to adding a quit button. In this video, we are going to, guess what we're going to do? It's pretty obvious. We're going to add a quit button. Here it is, quit, and it will just stop the game. We are also going to fix a bug, which we previously had, that if you quick start, the tanks are all flying off. And that's no longer happening. We're also going to simplify our collision system a lot. So, see you in there. So guys, we have tanks firing, we have problems with our game, but we are making progress. We can shoot at them, they can shoot at us. We can't move yet, but let's stick to our plan, which we decided in the beginning, or I decided in the beginning, that we were going to work on the world, then the tank, then the controls, then player 2, then UI before looping back to the world and the tank and the controls. So let's do that. Let's go to UI next, just for the sake of sticking to our original plan. The idea is we don't dwell for too long on any one area of the game before moving on and making sure that we have dealt with any major omissions. So there are a couple of major omissions. That's omissions, O-M-M, for the non-English speakers. One is if we go to the main menu, firstly, we can't quit the game. There's no quit button, which is going to be a pain. And secondly, look what happens when we start the game. Oh dear, where have my tanks gone? Let's do that again, just because it's fun. If we play the game, Alt-P, start, boom, and we have serious flying tank syndrome. But interestingly, we don't have serious flying tank syndrome, SFTS, I think. Yes, SFTS. We don't have that syndrome here when we play in here. Now, why not? Well, you're welcome to pause and try and fix it yourself, or I can tell you what's going on, what I believe is going on. I believe what's going on is another one of these self-collision issues. Basically, we're running up against issues with Unreal because it's designed for making humanoid characters and skeletal meshes, and we have got ourselves a clunky tank here with lots of different collision meshes on it, all interfering with one another. So what can we do to prevent this mess up? Well, if we look at our tank at the moment, it's got a lot of different parts to it, as I say, and they've all got their own separate colliders. There's no easy way that I can see here in this view to see them, but as I say, you can go to the game view, and you can go to the battleground, play the game, F8 to depossess, show collision, and you'll see there's a lot of collision meshes all on this thing, and some of them are inside each other and interacting with each other. Now, I believe we've already turned off the collision on the turret here, but we still have collision on the barrel. No, we don't. We've got rid of it there as well. What else have we got? Tracks. Now the tracks have still got colliders on them. Let me for a minute try removing collision from the tracks. Save the game, so go to your track mesh, remove collision from it, make sure there are no collision meshes on it, and now try playing the game from the start menu. Let's see if that works. Because I believe what's happening is the tracks are effectively exploding off the tanks. Now they're okay, but we sit funny on the ground because our tracks don't have a collider on them. So then if you look carefully at my tank, its wheels are going through the ground. So look, one simple solution to this right now is to just simplify completely this tank's collision properties. So what we can do is we can actually take the colliders off the tracks as well, collision, remove. Oh, I have, sorry, excuse me, brain fart there. I removed them a moment ago. But the other thing that has collision on it was the tank body. And we could actually remove all of the collision from that, both from the LOD0, but also from collision and then remove collision. Now, of course, if we play the game from the main level or even from the start menu, it should fall through the floor or not move at all. Now, listen, the reason it's hovering in the air is because the tank body is the thing with the physics on it. Remember, if we look at the tank blueprint, the tank here is the thing with the physics. It still has simulate physics. It's actually grayed out, and that's because there is no collider, so it doesn't have a body to simulate physics on. So what we can do is we could go to the tank body for now, and let me show you a new thing about colliders here. We go to collision, and we add a box simplified collision. So you're starting with nothing. If you've got anything, just remove. Start with nothing, and then add a box simplified collision to the tank. Now, let's have a look at that. In fact, this default one here is nearly good enough, to be honest. It's nearly there. I'm going to change to say a left view or a front view. There you go. It's actually, as I explained before, the tank is aligned slightly off, so the views are slightly messed up, but it's good. You know, we can get to what we need. We can see this box is a little bit high. Where do you adjust this? Well, you can have a look in the Details tab, and then you can come in here and look for, where is it? Primitives. There you go. Under Static Mesh Settings, you have Primitive, boxes, and there's one box, element number 0, array starting at 0, and then you can change the offset. There you go. So now I'm just moving that box so that it just leaves maybe a little bit of the track sticking out the bottom, as if the track is dug into the ground. Let's try that. That's now, because I've turned collision off on all of the other elements of the tank, the only collision we have on the tank is on the main body. And that's actually sitting pretty nicely. Let's have a look closer. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I can get hit in the tank body. And let me just check that the other tanks also sit on the ground nicely. You see, they're not flying off. Their tracks aren't exploding out of them anymore. And we have an incredibly simple setup now. So let's just go and take a little closer look. I hit F8 there to come out. I don't mind those tracks slightly embedded. And now we have a much more reasonable, i.e. much more easy to reason about collision system on the tanks. In fact, if I play the game, hit F8, show collision again, and then just zoom in, it's very, very subtle purple box, but it's just a box around the tank. Much quicker to compute, much simpler to reason about. No internal collisions. So let's do that for now. That seems like a good idea. Okay, the other glaring omission is that from that start menu, that main menu, there is no quit button. I just want a quit button somewhere near the start button. And of course, that's going to be your challenge, because it's about time that you got back and revised UI. Now, this is another benefit of this spiral syllabus, is that we keep coming back to things before they go completely stale in your mind. So it doesn't only help us to keep the game fun, which is super important, because the moment your game stops being fun, if you can't get it back to fun, you want to abandon it, basically. You also don't want to forget things. So here's your challenge. I want you to have a challenge. Here you go. Let's try again. Okay, add a quit button. Add a quit button to the main menu. Call application quit from the blueprint. I'll let you decide exactly what to call from the blueprint. All of this will be coded in the blueprint. And then just test that hitting quit stops the game playing. I'm not going to give you any more hints than that. You need to crank up your mind again in terms of UI, revise some previous lectures if you need to, but let's get a quit button on there. Well, go on then. You're adding it, right? But you're not listening right now because it's paused. So I'm talking to nobody. But then when you unpause it, you'll be hearing me. Anyway, I digress. Let's get on with it. So let's go and find, where is this start menu in the first place? Well, good question. Where did we put it? I think we put it under UI, main menu. So there we go. Here is the main menu designer. So I think what I'm going to do that would be prudent is to take the start button there and see if I can do a copy and then a paste. Will it let me paste in here? No, won't let me paste. Why not? Okay, instead of doing it on this 3D view, you can go to the hierarchy here, copy there, and then paste in the hierarchy under the canvas panel. There you go. So now we have two start buttons sitting on top of each other. 1 and 2. Now where's this second one? The second one is at the top left. So that's it. Basically you copy it in the hierarchy rather than copying it there. Now I'm going to get rid of this animations timeline at the bottom because we're not animating anything. I'm going to immediately rename this asset to quit button, like so. And then I'm going to go about making sure that it's aligned with the other button. And then changing the text, which should be quit text. And then the text should be quit. I'll use capitals. Cool. So we're nearly there. And then on the button itself, rather than the text element, what you want to do is you want to come down to one of the events, and I'm going to choose on released so that you can push quit, but it's not until you let go. So if you go, oh, I didn't really want to push quit, you can kind of push it, move your mouse off. That may not work, but let's go on release anyway, just to be different. So we're going to choose on released here. So let's look where we are. Is this where we want to be coding it? Yeah, I think this is perfectly reasonable. What have we got here? We've got the event graph for the UI. It gets the widget ready, sets the input mode to UI only, gets a player controller. It sets this input mode game only, if you remember all that stuff. Now, the reason I can't edit is because I'm simulating. That was that big simulating thing over the top there. I'm just going to de-spaghettify this a little bit, and now I've got room for my quit button, and I can search for quit, and then we've got game, quit game. And it is as simple as that, actually. You just need to wire quit to quit game. Quit preference, quit or background, we're going to quit fully. So let's test it works next. Compile up the blueprint, play the game from the main menu, hit quit, and the game stops running. Perfect. I think the final thing I'm going to do on here is just make this button in the Designer tab. Remember that when you're in the main menu blueprint, you have a Graph tab, which tells you how it works, and a Designer tab, which tells you how it looks. I'm going to go into the Designer tab for myself. I'm going to select the Quit button, and I'm just going to make a slightly different background color just to give it the sense of quitability, if that's a word. Okay, that'll do. That's red. It's pretty ugly, but at least we know that that's the quit button. Now notice, I push the button down, nothing happens. I can't actually move away and not quit. It would take a little bit more work on the UI, but at least it doesn't immediately quit the second you touch it. At least you can think, oh, I didn't really mean to quit. Okay, you can't stop it. But as an exercise to the reader, by the way, if you want a bit of an extra challenge, the keen ones out there, make it so that you push down on quit. If you move the mouse off and let go, that actually it doesn't quit. But for everybody else, this is fine. We can start the game. The tanks don't disappear. We have super simplified collision. We have a quit button, and happy days are ahead. So, see you in the next video.